Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about the Prosperity Path virtual world orbs. I started running these last year right from the get-go, when E.J. Gold and his team started to produce them. I was familiar with E.J. Gold's work, his shamanic works, spiritual works, from back in the 1980s. So I guess I was starting from a basis of trust with EJ, and I timed it. Somehow I got to know that he was developing these new shamanic tools referred to as orbs, and so I was all in. I'd never played any video games much before, if any, but like I say, I had trust for sure there, and set about to teach myself how to play the video games. Now, I think the attitude you need to have with something like this, a shamanic tool, is that you're willing to experiment. Really, you're not taking anything on faith, but if you're willing to try something and be honest with yourself and see what sort of results you get, then I think that's the best way to approach it. Now, with these orbs, there's a lot of them. There's several classifications. One classification is called the remedies. These take a little longer to run than some of the others. They generally take around 25 minutes, 30 minutes to run completely through a labyrinth format. So to make it through to the end, that can take you half an hour. But there are some simpler ones to run. The cleansing orbs, basically just a very straight through. An example would be Karma Wash. That would be a really good one, just to try if you were willing to experiment and see its effects on you. Karma Wash maybe only takes 1 or 2 minutes straight through, and that would also be a good one to try, from the sense of basically learning how to move within the orb. Now, in terms of what I experienced, as I started to use the orbs, I noticed certainly I had become a lot calmer. My attention was more focused. I was more attentive and happier. Just basically, fewer things triggered me in terms of upset and so on. And people started to notice, and they say, "Oh my, what have you been doing? There's this change in you." They can't put the finger on it, but that's how you get some feedback that this shamanic tool actually functions as a remedy, as in your life, for some issue that you have. It might be a personal issue, might be a problem with the family, problem with finances, any problem that you can run in the orb and basically disconnect from that problem while you're in the orb space. Then when you come out of the orb space, the good feelings, maybe the disconnection from the concerns, the fears that you have, they will spill over or couple back into your everyday life. So that's my rough understanding of how the orbs work. It's not a detailed knowledge, but more cause and effect, in a sense, that what happens to you in the orb couples back into your everyday life. So if you're running an orb on fear, for example, within the orb you're overcoming your fears, in a sense. You're successfully running through the orb. Then back in your everyday life, that effect is coupled back in. So there's a huge number. I say huge. There's 30 odd remedy orbs, and lots of cleansing orbs, Instafix orbs, specialty orbs. They really do cover a wide ground in terms of addressing any issues that you might have, anything that you've struggled with and you might want to work on. You can just run the orb, and then, like I say, in some cases they're very quick, just a few minutes, and let the orb do the work. You're really not conscious, in one sense, conscious of what the orb is doing. You're very conscious and attentive of making the run as elegantly as you can through the labyrinth or through the pathway. But beyond that, the way the knowledge of the orb, how the orb works in detail, really isn't needed. You're just trying to get through the orb in the best way possible. And the blessings that happen to you in the orb, then the idea is that they're going to couple back into your everyday life. So what sort of things have I used it for? Very simple things in a way, not really earth-shattering. My daughter had lost her dog. The dog disappeared from her yard one evening, and she was really upset, really distraught. So when we went home, when she phoned me to tell me about the dog, and I was at home, and I thought, okay, I'll run one of the orbs for you, and we'll look for a good outcome. I can't remember if I ran blessings or heal my pet, some orb that sort of intuitively spoke to me at the time. Well, the next morning, a neighbor came over and actually told her the dog had spent the night in their yard. The dog was safe, and my daughter was relieved, and she was happy. So we had a positive outcome. Another case, my youngest daughter was upset because a friend of hers from Canada had gone missing. It'd been over a couple of weeks, I believe, and she hadn't sent word to her family where she was. And so eventually I found out about that and ran an orb, and the following morning, in fact, was when we found out the person had been found safe and sound. She got in touch with the family. So there's sometimes the sort of problems that you feel helpless about. There's nothing really in general you can do, but running an orb at least gives you a feeling that something may work. You are participating, you are having some effect, some possible effect. If the effects and the events couple back successfully into everyday life, then there'll be a change in the matter, and it'll conclude successfully. So it's a way to become happier. It's a way to maybe get out of a rut or a series of ruts that you feel you're in your everyday life. And it's a very gentle way of doing that. It's almost imperceptible, the changes that you'll find, but they build on each other. The more you run the orbs, each time you run them, there'll be a little step change, a little movement away from your current life into a life that by some definitions is more prosperous. And that doesn't mean that you're more wealthy. It maybe means that you have enough and that you can share with others. Sharing with others really is the key. And eventually, after you've run the orbs for yourself for a while, then I think you naturally gravitate to wanting to share running for other people if they don't run, or trying to turn them on to running, like I'm trying to do today. It's just a natural progression. When you feel happier, and more stable and more successful, then I think it's natural for you to turn and want to share that and help other folks. Anyways, if you're interested in running a Prosperity Path orb, there's a website called earthgame.com, URTHGAME.com. These orbs, they're only 99 cents to download. You just pay 99 cents and you've got the orb forever. You can run it forever for that low price. So it shouldn't be about the money. That shouldn't be a concern. If you have any interest though and you want to find out about more, go to earthgame.com. I'll put a link to that in the YouTube text so that you've got that link. My YouTube channel, I've done a number of orb runs. I've videoed them. If you want to have a taste of what an orb run looks like, you can have a look at that. There's also a few demo orbs on the EarthGame website too, a few demo videos. I think that's about it. Okay, so thanks for listening, and I hope you give it a try. Experiment. It won't cost you much, but it could make a huge difference. Thanks.